So the setup I have for this now is the LP100A running using a Fluke 87.5 for temperature. It's reading 26.1 degrees Celsius right now, which is pretty close to the standard 27. And that's using one of these typical probes. And then I'm going to be using my ICOM 7700 to drive it, and a Tokyo high power 1.2 KFX for the final drive of power. Okay, and here is the unit hooked up, and I have the cable running into it, and that's the basic setup. Now remember, the maximum temperature on this hybrid module, these hybrid modules, is 100 degrees, 150 before it totally derates. Well, call that destruction point. 100 as the maximum operating temperature that you want to be within, 100 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to carry it probably no further than probably 85, 90, and just get a rough idea of how long it takes at different wattage power outputs. Okay, so let's start the testing. Okay, first some low power tests. I'm not even going to put the thermocoupler up to it to check. I just want to see what the SWR is like going through different bands. So let's start at 160 meters and see what the SWR is like. I'm hoping for 1.1 or close to 1.1, so let's see what we get. So I'm going to start a tone here and see. And I'm putting 1.37 watts, and the SWR is 1.1. And as I increase the power a little bit, because the accuracy is going to be terrible at that point, let's go up to 25 watts of power. Sorry, I have this in the wrong mode here. And yeah, roughly 25 watts of power, and SWR is 1.09, so that's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to stop that now, change it up one band. Okay, 80 meters, go again. 1.08, 25 watts of power, so very happy with that. Move up to 40 meters. 1.07, very happy with that. Same 25 watts. Move it to 10. 1.07. 20 meters. 1.07. 17 meters. 1.07. Let's just go up to 20. Pretty much. Let's go to 12 meters. Just skip that out. Pretty much know it's going to be the same. 1.1. Okay. 10 meters. 1.11. And 6 meters. 1.13 SWR. So that's pretty good. And go back to my favorite band, 20. 1.07. So that's pretty good. I'm really happy with the SWR figures with the hybrid modules. Really good. Okay, so now let's just see what happens with increasing power and temperature, and how the temperature changes. Okay, so I got the thermocoupler right up against one of the hybrid modules, right on the top metal edge. It's sitting in the thermal paste. So as you can see, it's picking up a little bit of the residual heat from the test we just ran. So I'm going to, the amplifier is on, so I can crank up the power comfortably and go up to see how long it lasts at certain things. So I'm probably just going to go try something fairly high here. Okay, starting up 2.9 watts, and let's crank that up, and the temperature is starting to climb, and I'm gonna go up to 750 watts, and that's where my thing bucks out. And you can see the temperature is climbing pretty rapidly, and I'm going to cut it there. So what you could see from that was that it was a very short burst at 750 watts. I don't know, probably about 15-20 seconds or less. It would even be shorter at of course 1K. It would be at legal limit 1.5. It would be really short. But as I said, this is just a preliminary check. There is more that's going to be added to bring down that temperature and extend that period of time. But let's just see what would happen. I'm going to let this cool down a bit and see what would happen at, say, a more reasonable power level that I would just want to be checking a radio with for repair purposes. So I'll probably use about 200 watts and see where that carries me. So I'm going to let this cool down a bit. Okay, about 2 minutes has passed, 3 minutes. I can't bother waiting any much longer. I'm just going to put it on, see where it goes at 200 watts. And it's been over a minute, and I don't normally key down a transmitter for much longer than that, but I will let it go a little longer. And judging how slowly this is creeping, I would say it's leveled out there at 69.7. So that's at 200 watts continuous power. If you were modulating into this, you would not see anything like this at all, because this is just constant power. If you were just going hello, hello, You could probably do the 750 watts for a long time and not have a problem. But anyway, that's just giving you an idea. It will probably, I would estimate, it'll do up to probably 400 watts easily, giving you enough time to do what you need to do for tuning up. Maybe even 500 watts, it'll tune up fine. So I'm happy with that part. So let's just say at this point, if you were just to leave it at $150, you do have a working dummy load that is good to probably 400 watts, 500 watts, with a reasonable length of time for tune-up. So I'm going to now go and start making more improvements to it, and we'll go from there to get it to the $200 marker, which was what I mentioned earlier.